An international heist crew from different parts of the world comes together to plan a theft aboard a passenger plane. Their plan is to steal $500 million in gold from the plane while it is flying at an altitude of 12,000 meters. This mission seems impossible, but that is precisely where the story begins. Every step is filled with danger and every decision can be life-changing. The story opens at a glamorous auction. The entire hall is under camera surveillance with no blind spots. The police are completely confident that nothing can go wrong here. However, they have no idea that something extraordinary is about to happen. At this very auction, the international master thief Cyrus makes a bold entry, revealing his true face openly. The police are stunned to see him moving around so fearlessly. His demeanor and eyes carry a distinct self-confidence. The police begin monitoring his every move. Cyrus sits right in the middle of the auction hall, remaining perfectly calm. After a while, he places a bid on an NFT item worth $20 million. Everyone is astonished at how he could bid such an enormous sum so easily. Police surveillance intensifies. Just as the auction staff announces the successful transaction, Cyrus uses his earpiece to give an order to his accomplices. Simultaneously, a staff member strikes the gavel to close the auction. Suddenly, alarms blare throughout the hall. Chaos erupts as people begin running in panic. CIA Agent Avery has been watching Cyrus from the start. The moment she sees him make a move, she immediately orders the auction staff to seal the entire building. But it is already too late. Cyrus has already taken the NFT artist with him. Avery realizes that if Cyrus wanted to steal the NFT, the easiest way would have been to kidnap the artist. She understands it was all a smokescreen. She quickly calls for a boat at the harbor to try and stop Cyrus. However, Cyrus doesn't panic at all. He signals to his teammate Mason to initiate the plan. Mason immediately infiltrates the network and activates the fire alarm, thwarting all of Avery's efforts. Meanwhile, the female pilot Camila calmly increases the boat's speed and takes a sharp drift turn. Avery, not one to give up, continues the pursuit. Seeing this, Mason activates metal barriers, completely blocking the path. Forced, Avery calls headquarters and requests a full-scale search for Cyrus. Meanwhile, the NFT artist still doesn't realize he has been kidnapped. He thinks Avery is just an overenthusiastic fan. Cyrus takes him to his luxurious yacht, happily pays him $20 million, and invites him to a party on the yacht. Unbeknownst to the artist, news of his kidnapping has already made front-page headlines. The next morning when he wakes up, the heist crew reveals the truth. He learns the kidnapping was fake, orchestrated to increase the NFT's value. Shocked, he listens as Cyrus gives the example of the Mona Lisa, explaining how a theft can skyrocket an item's value. As the kidnapping news spreads, the artist's work's value soars, and the deal finally closes at $89 million. The artist is overjoyed. Simultaneously, the CIA receives news that terrorist leader Lars is about to smuggle $500 million in illegal gold. Even more shocking, Avery is ordered to recruit Cyrus for this mission. Avery strongly opposes this, believing entrusting a CIA mission to a thief is a complete joke. However, her seniors explain the situation is extremely grave. Avery doesn't trust Cyrus due to bitter past memories, but she has no other choice. Reluctantly, Avery meets Cyrus and offers him a deal. If the mission succeeds, all past crimes of Cyrus and his entire team will be pardoned. Cyrus is impressed but sets one condition: Avery must join the mission. Avery is forced to agree. The next day when the team finds out, they think Cyrus is insane, suspecting Avery might be a CIA trap. However, Cyrus convinces them, stating that Avery knows all their secrets. Eventually, the whole team agrees to the dangerous mission. The story takes an even more thrilling turn from here. Avery begins explaining the mission details. She reveals that in 17 days, Lars will ship $500 million in gold from a London bank to Zurich. The gold will be in square wooden crates, each measuring 1 by 1 meter with a total weight of 10 tons. It will be transported by truck under heavy security to the airport, then loaded onto a Swiss Air passenger plane flying directly to Zurich. Clearly, stealing the gold on the ground is impossible. Hearing this plan, Cyrus's team thinks it's a suicide mission. Stealing gold under such security seems like madness. But Cyrus remains calm, stating that if it's not possible on the ground, they will find a way in the air. He decides the gold will be moved mid-flight, requiring a second plane. When the two planes are close enough, they will exchange radar signals, making the gold-carrying plane undetectable. Hacker Mason quickly finds a suitable plane, large in size, heavily modified, remotely controllable, and equipped with automatic steel pipes. Denton shows them the plane's most crucial feature. Its bottom is a joint LED screen, allowing it to evade radar and visual detection. Cyrus understands this will be their greatest weapon. After renting the plane, the team begins designing the hijacking plan. First, they must control the radar system to keep their plane invisible while also exchanging signals upon approaching the gold-carrying plane. According to the plan, the safe will be opened at approximately 9,100 meters. The team trains for days, simulating real-life situations. Each member perfects their role. However, a major problem arises during practice. Simultaneously activating the jammer and transponder on two planes flying at 1,100 km per hour is nearly impossible. The slightest mistake could ruin the entire mission. The only solution is an insider from the airline who can manipulate the system at the right time. Avery immediately remembers a name. Harry, a man in a wheelchair who is a CIA insider working at the airline and knows some transport staff on passenger flights. Cyrus directly offers him $1 million to temporarily join the team. Tempted by the money, Harry agrees. The entire team then dedicates day and night to preparations. No one sleeps or rests. Every second is utilized as there is no room for error. The mission requires a signal jammer device to be installed on the passenger plane, but it looks like a bomb. Avery suggests dismantling the device into parts. The plan is for each member to board the plane as a passenger carrying one part each. To avoid suspicion, they will board in different waves, assembling the device inside the plane. Action day arrives. Team members board the plane like normal passengers, some in business class, others in economy. The gold cargo is heavily guarded in the hold. But then an unexpected event occurs. The engineer Luke suddenly runs away. Cyrus panics upon hearing the news because Luke has an important component of the jammer. He immediately asks Mason for a solution. Meanwhile, Camila is flying the stealth plane closely behind the passenger plane. The distance between the two planes in the sky is continuously decreasing. Mason scans the cabin and finds 5 bodyguards posing as passengers, 2 in first class and 3 in economy. The team is immediately alerted. Once the plane reaches cruising altitude, passengers are permitted to move about the cabin. Team members take turns going to the economy class restroom to hide the device parts. Then Avery, wearing a backpack, takes the partially assembled device to the first class restroom. However, her nervous body language arouses a bodyguard's suspicion. Danger is imminent. At that moment, turbulence hits the plane, and the device falls from Avery's hands, breaking. He panics, unsure what to do. Just then Cyrus runs to help her. By this time, Camila has perfectly aligned the planes, but the jammer is not yet fully assembled. Suddenly, a bodyguard knocks loudly on the restroom door. In that moment of danger, Avery makes suggestive noises and the bodyguard leaves. Cyrus quickly repairs the device and the jammer is finally activated. Simultaneously, Camila uses wake turbulence to lock onto the passenger plane. The signal exchange is successful and both planes disappear from radar. The mission now enters its most dangerous phase. At the Air Traffic Control Center, Harry begins his play. He sends the captain a false weather report, stating that the weather in Zurich is terrible. He requests the captain to divert the plane for an emergency landing at an airport nestled among snowy mountains. After completing his task, Harry signals Camila, who immediately executes the next step. She releases a radar jamming drone and increases the distance from the passenger plane. Both planes are now fully under control. The captain announces the emergency landing to the passengers. Chaos erupts in the cabin as people panic. Meanwhile, the bodyguards become active and start making suspicious moves. In the cargo hold, Magnus begins his work, pressing buttons on the control panel. For a while there is no response. Everyone holds their breath. If the system fails, all is lost. Suddenly the safe unlocks. Magnus breathes a sigh of relief and immediately starts cracking the password. The path to the gold is now open. But then a bodyguard notices something amiss and immediately alerts the others. A fight breaks out inside the cabin without delay. Passengers scream and chaos spreads. During this, the captain also hears strange noises from the cabin. Understanding the situation, he decides on an emergency landing at the nearest airport. The plane begins descending rapidly. As the plane lands at the Alps airport, bodyguards take Cyrus at gunpoint to the cargo hold. They order a gold check and immediately call Lars to report the situation. Lars remains calm and listens. The bodyguard informs him the plane has landed at the Alps airport. However, Roberts has a backup plane ready. Lars coolly orders his men to seize both the gold and Roberts. Bodyguards escort Cyrus, Avery, and Camila off the plane. Camila barely has time to comprehend before she too becomes a prisoner. The situation has completely reversed. Preparations to shift the gold begin. With a gun to her head, Camila is forced to fly the backup plane. Tension fills the sky once more. At CIA headquarters, the seniors realize Avery and her team are in serious trouble. Immediate tracking orders are issued and satellites are activated. The backup plane slowly takes off. At that moment, Camila secretly sends a signal. Cyrus understands and tells Avery to fasten her seatbelt. The next second, the plane shakes violently. Bodyguards who hadn't fastened their seatbelts fall to the floor. Chaos spreads again. The lead bodyguard struggles up and asks Camila why the plane is shaking. Camila calmly replies that the gold's weight is too much. The bodyguard is suspicious but can't do anything. In reality, Camila has disengaged the plane's external stealth layer, aiming to make it visible to CIA radar. Shortly, the CIA detects the plane and immediately dispatches 2 F-35 fighter jets for support. However, an officer reminds the senior that they have no solid evidence against Lars. After a moment's thought, the senior decides to contact NATO, requesting permission to shoot down the plane under the pretext of a terrorist threat, showing no concern for Avery's life. The bodyguards think this is just an empty threat. Camila continues flying the plane. Outside, the fighter jets ready their missiles and begin a final 60-second countdown. In the passenger cabin, Cyrus thinks of one last gamble. He activates a remote control. Steel pipes suddenly extend, slamming the bodyguards hard to the floor. The situation flips once more and control begins returning to Cyrus's team. Cyrus subdues a bodyguard and Avery immediately takes the remote control. She uses LEDs on the plane's fuselage to spell out "civilian," so it's visible from outside. A final attempt to save themselves. Simultaneously in the cockpit, Camila suddenly flips the plane upside down. Seeing this, the NATO fighter jets halt their attack. But the plane rapidly loses altitude, making the situation even more dangerous. Avery seizes this opportunity and uses the remote to open the cargo hold door. The bodyguard struggling with Cyrus loses balance and falls straight into the open sky. Everything ends in a second. Cyrus and Avery then run toward the cockpit, where Camila is still fighting a bodyguard. The three manage to subdue him together. But now the plane is completely damaged. Cyrus sits in the pilot's seat, trying with all his might to pull the plane up. Just then, a part of the fuselage breaks off and hits the tail fin. The plane is now completely out of control. An emergency landing is the only option left. Cyrus quickly looks down and turns the plane toward a highway, a decision made to save lives. The plane descends at high speed, skidding upon impact with the ground. Out of control, it heads straight toward Lars's luxury villa. Lars and the woman who came to receive the gold inside panic, unable to comprehend what's happening. Trees on both sides of the road slow the plane's speed. The broken plane finally comes to a stop right in front of the villa. With a loud noise, everything falls silent. Cyrus, Avery, and Camila emerge from the wrecked plane. Chaos is everywhere. Right there, 10 tons of gold lie scattered on the ground. The woman who came to count the gold suddenly receives a message that there is an informant present in the deal. She immediately decides to halt the transaction, suspecting a major setup. She also realizes that one of the three is a police officer and prepares to break the contract. But Lars doesn't believe in lengthy discussions. Without thinking, he fires 2 shots. The woman falls, dead. Lars's face shows no emotion. Unbeknownst to him, a passenger plane's camera has recorded everything. When Lars angrily asks who the police officer is, Cyrus steps forward. Lars is about to shoot him when the police force suddenly arrives, surrounding the area from all sides. Flustered, Lars accuses Cyrus and his team of illegal trespassing, trying to save himself. The situation changes completely within moments. Cyrus tells the police the whole story, how the gold smuggling was happening and how the murder was committed. Simultaneously, footage projected on the fuselage shows proof of the murder committed by Lars. Lars has no escape left. He bows his head and confesses his crime. His entire game ends right there. Shortly after, the CIA team also arrives. Seeing everything, Avery is shattered inside. Cyrus understands he must leave now. Camila prepares a boat and Cyrus gets ready to leave with her. Avery asks her senior if he was the one who gave NATO the order to shoot down the plane. She already knows the answer. In anger, Avery punches her senior, then throws her badge on the ground and resigns from the CIA. A strange peace settles on her face. Without looking back, she boards Cyrus's boat. Her path has completely changed. The story now moves toward its final and most shocking turn. The boat moves forward, leaving the chaos behind. Cyrus tries to calm Avery. The sea breeze hits their faces, and for the first time, Avery feels truly free. Cyrus tells her it's time she knew the whole truth. He reveals that this mission was never for the CIA from the start. Avery is stunned. She thought the gold would go to the CIA. Smiling, Cyrus says he never trusted the CIA. He explains that the real plan was executed back in Brussels when Harry was recruited. At that time, Magnus had already replaced the real gold with fake gold. The real gold was covered with iron bars painted gold. This fake gold was sent on the Swiss Air cargo plane. The drama on the passenger plane was only to divert attention. Both the CIA and Lars were focused on that plane. In reality, Magnus was waiting for the other plane. At the right moment, the crates were swapped mid-air. This was the riskiest part, but the plan was executed perfectly. Cyrus further explains that engineer Luke's running away was also part of the drama. Avery thought Luke got scared, but the truth was that Cyrus had assigned him a crucial task: ensuring the real gold was safely dropped into the water. The gold was sealed in specially designed containers that wouldn't sink. While the CIA and police were handling the crates filled with scrap metal on the ground, the real gold had already been safely hidden in the sea. The CIA only received worthless iron in return. Hearing all this, Avery laughs loudly. She can't believe the CIA was manipulated at such a grand level. She understands that Cyrus's team controlled every move from start to finish. Cyrus states clearly that their team never works for any system. They only trust themselves. That's why Avery was included in the mission. The rest of the team members arrive. Everyone hugs each other. After so long, the whole team is together again. Everyone's eyes hold happiness and peace. Avery is now officially part of this team. Her face shows no fear, only excitement and the glow of freedom. Cyrus hands Avery a remote control, saying the final step is hers. Without asking anything, Avery presses the button. The sea surface begins to stir. Slowly, metal containers start rising from underwater. Within seconds, 10 tons of gold becomes visible above the water. Avery's eyes widen in amazement. She takes a deep breath, feeling a strange relief within, as if a burden has completely lifted. Cyrus looks at her and gives a slight smile. All team members gaze at the gold now out of the water. 10 tons of gold worth $500 million, the very gold for which such a big battle was fought. Avery stays quiet for a moment, remembering her old life where every day passed in rules and orders. Now she feels she made the right decision. Cyrus clearly states that he intentionally hid the truth about stealing the gold from Avery. If she had known earlier, CIA pressure could have broken her. Avery understands this and holds no grudge. The rest of the team officially welcomes Avery. Everyone praises Cyrus's leadership. Cyrus tells the team this is not an end but a new beginning. Bigger plans await them ahead. And here today's story ends. How did you like this movie? Please share your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such stories. Subscribe to Movo Reels, where every movie tells its story.